Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Dead Space 3. Let's continue. So, we turned on some kind of heaters that are going to probably awaken the inside of this giant necromorph. Although, at a certain point, what is a necromorph? Because clearly this was not human at some point. It almost implied that necromorphs came first and humans are somehow genetically evolved from them. Or, that there were giant human-like creatures that the necromorphs evolved from or were engineered from. It seems like what we're going to end up doing is drilling or spearing into this creature in some kind of big boss fight. Ellie seems like she's gone crazy in half of the conversations we've had with her. Um, the boyfriend certainly hates me.
Over here! This is the blueprint I was telling you about. I don't see any of the parts necessary to make this sensor, but there's another research warehouse at the other end of the camp. Here's a schematic. What do you think?
Now, they said the blueprint just basically uh, the original version was destroyed.
Yeah, I think I can build it with the right parts. Where's the other warehouse?
I'll put the coordinates in your rig. It is most likely to be locked down tight. Here. I found these research passcodes when we arrived. They got us into this warehouse. Maybe they will work for the other buildings as well.
Yeah, it might
Well,
be.
we'll find out. Back
And
soon.
this is gonna probably come off a little rude, but wow, you just got a code transferred to you. First time the game's ever done that. I very well may have heard some conversations from her, and she might be the one that's gone a little crazy and is just like gung ho to continue this research into necromorphs instead of just escaping with your lives, which is the better move. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to run back down to areas we previously couldn't visit. There definitely are a couple of characters in this game that feel like they should have been merged into one character. Like this character, I don't think plays enough of a role to be her own side character. And it's an interesting idea to have a 3D character in an environment, but that does kind of also imply that what we're going to run into is she'll always be safe and there will never be necromorphs around here until there's a cutscene where then there are necromorphs and then they kill them.
Okay, geniuses, here's a question. Let's say this stupid experiment works and you find the machine, then what? Do you guys even have a clue about turning it off?
Well, Admiral Graves referred to a codex. She said it was the key to controlling the machine.
Yes. I've been able to decrypt several of Dr. Serrano's logs, and he references someone named Rosetta as being instrumental in forging this key.
Are you listening to yourselves? You don't know any more about this bullshit than I do.
If I can find the parts to make a sensor, we can find the machine. Then we can figure out this codex business.
Unbelievable.
Rosetta, still almost certainly a Rosetta Stone, not a person. Alright, well I guess we can come back here and check the bench and just get one scavenger bot back. We probably should just sit on tungsten in case we really do need to craft something. And the probe gun doesn't seem like it actually is something that you can craft here. So, yeah. Seems like those are separate parts and components we're gonna get. And man, I keep doing this. So sorry, but man, I keep starting to stream and then I have to run to the bathroom. So I'm going to pause the recording and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Turned away from the microphone. Yeah. What this game is missing, I think, is the fact that when you have a notification, a bit of conversation going on, it doesn't subtitle it in such a way as to actually tell you where that next who's talking at that time. And in the first game, there was really only 2 characters that you were interacting with, maybe 3. And even then, they were doing a fairly good job about making sure you knew who you were talking to. I wonder if maybe if I hadn't stomped on these bodies before I reached that point, whether those would have turned into Necromorphs or not. Otherwise, we're dangerously going through a lot of sequences here where we're not really going to fight anything. This is an odd, like, transition. It also kind of doesn't feel like we're going to so now we have the unitologist killing themselves in ritualistic suicide. Okay. I don't feel like I got all the stuff I could have gotten. And you have these candles. But is that really creepy at this point? Because they've taken the unitologist concept from the first game where they were kind of ununderstandable and confusing, and they've taken it to like a completely understood, known entity. Yeah, we may never be able to get there, so I think it's probably worth it to at least deploy one of these scavenger bots right now in the wrong place. Yeah. For this game, since each of those characters have the 3D models of characters, there's no reason why the camera should not pop up and show you a video in a hologram in front of you. Clearly that technology still exists because we have seen it in a few instances, and that should just be the default way in which all communication happens. I just don't see a reason to not go that direction. Even if I thawed this whole thing and woke it up, I mean, once again, it's just so big that you're not going to really be able to fight it in a normal way with your normal gun. It also looks like so decrepit. It's very weird that there would be creatures this big. Or a hive mind or a single entity that big. It's very weird that we were just downloaded the code to this section. Alright, so maybe they're introducing a new style of Necromorph that's maybe a bit more of a runner. I assume this is going to be the way we come back, because that's how all these levels have been designed. Unless it was like a regenerating runner or something, though. It's gonna have some special ability to it. Yes, pause now if you want to read this. If it ran away, maybe it's part of a bigger entity. We haven't really run into a scenario where any of the elevators have chosen different paths. Instead, it has become very much a situation of So, are these supposed to be some kind of like female harpy type creatures? I'm just straight up ignoring the potential danger to walk through the snow. So this is just like ridiculous. I probably could have put the other bench scavenger bot where in one of these alcoves to get more resources. I seriously doubt there's going to be much of anything in these. The harpies might come in, and I'll just call them harpies for now. They might come in higher numbers. I may very well just be walking the wrong way on the path there. No? Well, that's confusing. I wouldn't have thought that I had gone all the way in circles. It again doesn't really make any sense that you would build a site map like this. Every single human on this facility, even a couple hundred years ago, would have had to have been in one of these environment suits, and thus the environment suits would have had to have had the technology to assist them. Yeah. Okay, I hear music. Music spoiling encounters. Okay, I remember these guys. These were the guys that would headbutt you and run into you. They're not harpies. Of course, in the first game, when you ran into these guys, you ran into them in a few places. Way more than we're obviously going to run into them here in this game, and they would hide behind boxes in more maze-like environments and end up knocking you down. They really, I think, only made major impact when they were mixed with other necromorphs, because knocking you down potentially knocking you down potentially as you're being attacked by other necromorphs would kind of make some sense. Necromorphs in a snowy frozen planet like this do seem like they would be able to survive in this environment somewhat well, but I guess the question is, are they really ever surviving? Do they actually eat anything? Are they nothing but just mindless zombies? That's certainly something to think about even when you watch zombie movies, is that if there was a scenario where the zombies actually took over a planet Earth and tried to thrive, they would quickly run out of fresh humans to eat unless they gained some level of intelligence and started factory farming human brains to eat, and they would soon just decay. And these are just monster closets. Very generic, old-fashioned way of doing things by modern standards. And monster closets, I'm sure, are still used, but they are way better hidden than that. I think that is definitely something that would have to be addressed when if a remake was made. So here's another collectible. Pause now if you want to read it. Yeah. You can't rely on monster closets in modern games, or you've got to do a really good job at disguising the fact that they are monster closets. You don't really even need it because the technology, it should be advanced enough.
It means despite our every precaution, containment has become a necessity. It is now up to us to make the ultimate sacrifice for the safety of the sovereign colonies that we have sworn to protect. We understand we cannot expect 100% compliance. Therefore, the military arm of this final quarantine campaign will divide into 3 tiers of soldiers on sweep and cleanse duty. The first crew disables all vehicles. The next takes census of the personnel who have obeyed the order and provides assistance to those who have not. The last destroys all data, records, and communication structures on Tau Volantis and in orbit. At the end of these tasks, each group will consider their mission objectives complete and proceed to self-terminate. God bless the sovereign colonies.
Who made these slideshows? Did you really need to make a slideshot?
It means despite our every precaution, containment has become
Like somebody's job was to make the PowerPoint with the pictures of killing yourself.
We cannot expect 100% compliance. Therefore, the military arm of this final quarantine campaign will divide into 3 tiers of soldiers on sweep and cleanse duty. The first crew disables all vehicles.
And see, the only thing that could be fairly interesting there is if it turned out that there was a crew of military people that were still alive and survived. Pause now if you want to read this.
Each group will consider their mission objectives complete and proceed to self-terminate.
Like,
God bless the sovereign colonies. May he have mercy on us all. If you are watching this,
may
film,
he.
it means despite our every precaution, containment has become a necessity. It is now up to us to make the ultimate sacrifice for the safety of the sovereign colonies that we have sworn to protect. We understand we cannot expect 100% compliance. Therefore, the military arm of this
So what was that we just got? Semiconductors. An inventory full. We've got a repeater gun. We're gonna have to make some decisions now. I guess we'll just go ahead and use this. And use this. We'll take the repeater gun. And we'll take the upgrade. And then we'll hope that these 2 resources are just standard resources that don't take up inventory slots.
If you are watching this film, it means
It's interesting the video stops playing.
Containment has become a necessity. It is now up to
Okay.
us to make the ultimate
Like,
sacrifice for the safety of the sovereign colonies.
we had already been shown this at the prologue, so did
We cannot expect
the game
100%
think we don't
compliance.
remember?
Therefore, the military arm of
And why do we need to know that information?
3 tiers of soldiers on sweep and cleanse duty.
Like, it's been mentioned multiple times. See, when you don't have a scavenger bot, you can't search an area to see if there was a scavenger bot item to collect. So it's, I suppose, very easy to miss that. So we're at the staging yard. What section, as far as progress, are we in? Chapter 11 still? 11% done. Alright, we've got these guys running all around. They're kind of working their way to trying to rush me. Problem here, I think, is that I might as well just let them rush me. I think it would use less bullets to do it that way than it is to Okay. Any box I run into at this point until I can find the bench is potentially just going to have something I can't pick up. So I am definitely in a weird position with that. We're going this direction. It's fine to not pick up scavenger metal or bullets, scrap metal, things like that, because I've got plenty of that anyways, but I think it would be a mistake to potentially leave any other items, even if I am just using health like crazy. Yeah, 9 bullets is not a significant amount of bullets. Yeah, and that's pretty much all this is just similar to the storage facility in the first game. They really are just beat for beat copying the events of the first game. I wouldn't be surprised if I need to just back out from this immediately. And interesting. These have angles to them now. That one was fairly difficult to do. Yeah, there might be an argument if you get a lot of jump scares where you get attacked when you open these things to just start the opening process and then back out of it and move forward. More bullets. More bullets. They definitely felt like that was going to be more of a challenge.
Whoa. Hey guys, whatever they were experimenting on here, it looks like it got up and took half the warehouse with it.
Oh no! What about the sensor parts?
3 pieces, right? Well, it's a long shot, but I'll take a look around.
So they seemingly thawed out one of the Necromorphs, and it just totally escaped. It totally would make sense that they aren't really dead, because there's really no indication that Necromorphs would freeze to death. Alright, well, we've got another thing. I can't even use it. This. Interesting. Alright, well, let's just drop that and then get a +2 rate of fire, -1 reload. Like, you need to get these upgrade circuits just because of the fact that you're going to end up using them for tungsten, if nothing else. Yeah, I hear something making some noise. Alright, so I'm spinning this and I'm pulling a elevator upward. Good. That sounds like that was a bit of a puzzle that I just solved. This feels a lot like the sequence with the where'd it go? This feels a lot like the sequence with the regenerator in the spaceship area. found one part, and that part is a key item, so it's in our key items, which does kind of make it feel like you might be able to have at max 6 items in your inventory at a time. Here's another part that we could probably have telekinesis, but maybe not because of the cage aspect there. Would really like to know what is the thing that makes the beeping sound so I could turn it off. And there's just a ridiculous amount of health kits and things. And I just don't have anything I think I could do. I can drop this, I can drop this, and I can pick that up instead, and pick up the medium med packs instead.
Okay, Santos.
That was
I think I've got
difficult
all the
to get
for
all the
sensor.
parts.
Excellent. Do you think you can reconstruct it?
I just need to find a bench and call up the blueprint. It shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah, whatever came out of here is not really a threat. It's not the giant thing, obviously. So unless I climb this ladder and get attacked by a regenerator, which even a regenerator wouldn't be that much of a struggle, I think we're fine. Odds would make me suspect that they would jump out here, but it didn't. It seems like you're never going to make it to this other side, which is fine. We've just like overshot our inventory a lot now. Let's see what our other gun is. This was the shotgun. Alright, so that doesn't work. We'll go ahead and... if I can even hit this guy. The part of the problem here certainly is that when I use energy, the medkits, I tend to push the button twice. So if I am using medkits, it's usually mistakenly double the usage. And we may very well just have a scenario where we may have a scenario where we are just going to end up dying a couple of times. And you have this big action-y music playing. Yeah, I think I probably would want to go back after this. Like, just go back and try and get as much try and go back and get as much health and bullets back, because this is a bullet sponge character, certainly. Yeah. Seems like maybe it's opened up a new sore spot where I could possibly shoot and do some more damage. Maybe, maybe not. Like, you can't run up to these guys and smash them or anything, though, so...
Guys, that beast thing keeps running away before I can kill it.
Oh god, we can't seem to catch a break. But if the sensor works, we will have the machine's location.
If this planet doesn't kill us first.
We'll find it. I'll be back soon.
I wonder if maybe that is Rosetta.
Hey, anyone been out to check the armory?
No. Why?
Oh, shit. That's what I thought. Someone with a trail of flares and they're still burning.
Oh god. You don't think Danik and his men are...
Gonna find out.
So, let's see. Use that. Alright. It wants me to go this way for the main story. There's a trail of flares for this optional story, and there's literally no reason not to just take the trip back this way. And pick up every little thing that we couldn't pick up earlier. In a weird way, it's just in the wrong place. Like, all these pickups should have been after the fight, and they could have just been things that were either in the armory, and then there would have been more of a reason to go do the armory, or that there would have been things that are just dropped by that monster. Yeah, I wouldn't be super surprised if it turns out that that creature is Rosetta, and it is intelligence, and it is actually trying to stop you from accidentally waking up more of the bigger necromorphs. There is that standard assumption that's being made here that all the necromorphs are working together and on the same team, when it could very well be that that creature actually isn't a necromorph at all. Although it certainly seems to look very similar to other necromorphs. I don't know if that's the best replenishment of inventory. All these boxes respawned and reset themselves. Interesting. Let's go ahead and go this way. We are technically, I guess, protecting the armory munitions, and this once again feels like something that could have been on the Ishimura and on a spaceship, but it isn't, so whatever. So we'll craft the probe gun, and I guess we'll have to equip that since the other gun's not even that useful. scavenger bots have returned. We now have 100 tungsten. Still not really that great. This weapon can't be modified. And upgrading that weapon I don't think is really that useful. I would like more clips, but I wouldn't want to reduce any damage. So let's see. Sell that. Sell that. It's probably about as much as I can do. Yeah, I don't think there's anything new to craft. And I don't think I'd really want to just like have a secondary damage support or something. We can now add a flame glaze to do fire damage, or we could add an acid bath to do acid damage. Neither one of those I think are actually useful, though. I figured we'd run into something like that. Let's see. Hammond's heavy frame, I don't think makes any sense. As something that you could craft more of them, but it would not work for much of anything. There aren't any new modules. I don't think there's any new tips. There aren't any new types of guns. I now am starting to have enough tungsten to be able to craft everything I would want. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put 3 bullets here and 1 bullet there, or 3 health kits.
This looks pretty lethal for science equipment. So what do I do with it?
The research says the scientists took their readings internally. So, I guess we have to pry open the specimen's belly?
Well, that would explain the harpoon guns.
Oh, good.
Here we have a unitologist artifact, which maybe they'll turn this armory into unitologist type sanctuary. Pause now if you want to read that, and we'll see a little bit more unitologist imagery. Here we have a room that looks very much like a building in a modern day house, or a modern day kitchen, not a science fiction environment. I suppose at any point they could throw more things at me as far as alright, we're short on tungsten to do any more duration. We're short on transducers to do any more energy. Short on transducers, so yeah, we do just need more transducers and tungsten. And it says that the special thing I should be out here. So let's get to that first. Let's go ahead and place the scavenger bots. And it says that's lower. And I don't know if we're going to go lower, so we'll probably want to just use the scavenger bot fairly quickly. Boy, have we not accomplished anything, and it's already an hour. I suspect on this optional mission we will maybe have some booby-trapped areas and things like that, but I also wouldn't be surprised if not much happens. Interesting that there's a bench and a suit kiosk on this floor also. Obviously I should have my main gun on the other side. So we have a transition area that might take us to some other areas. And maybe that's how we would possibly reconnect to the space area. We have a door here that doesn't seem like it even opens. We have a map that probably doesn't mean anything. Another door that seems like it doesn't open. Which door did we come through? It's very weird to have one elevator take us down, then have another elevator that takes us down even further. That guy was crawling. Man, they are just throwing benches at you like crazy, which I guess that kind of makes sense. This being the armory. That there'd just be people building weapons like crazy, customizing the guns. Although you would think they would just have some standard issue weapons normally. And I guess you potentially are going to be punished if you didn't have a distance upgrade. That's just +2 reload. Interesting. So we've now hit a point where we may get upgrade circuits that are all benefit and no negative benefits. Well, I'm not sure I'm going to get down there, so I think I just lost that box. Unless they figure out some way to turn off gravity. Transferal shaft to active cargo, keep clear. Yeah, we might get down this way and have something happen. We got a lot of bodies around here that are not Necromorphs, and they seem to not really want to be stomped on, which it would make more sense if you could just stomp on the bodies. Even if it just made like a gross squishing sound and kind of audio-wise punished you for overkill. Alright, so it seems like we're gonna come back this way. And inventory-wise, we are now doing better. Okay. Well, yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like we did much in this episode. We seemingly now know why chapter 11 seems so long. It's because it has this optional mission, whereas some of these other option chapters seem to be fairly short. As far as progress for chapter 11, it kind of only seems like there's this like co-op mission archaeology that probably can't do because I'm playing single player. And then there's just a ton of logs that were missing, text logs and audio logs and weapons parts. And unless the armory is just going to give you all of that, it definitely does feel like there's another part of this chapter that we're going to have to deal with after the boss fight. Alright, well, it's been almost an hour, I guess. Well, no, it's been about 46 minutes, come to look at it. So we'll go a little bit longer. I forgot I paused the recording 5 minutes into it. And so that messes up my timer so much. So yeah, maybe we can do a decent job and get through this side mission before the end of this episode. Kind of feel like I'm going in circles. I may have picked up a log there, so apologies, as I was smashing things. It's gonna really suck if it turns out the armory is the place where you just get all the resources you always needed throughout the rest of the game. Because then that tells anybody who is even slightly in the know that all they really should have done is waited until nearly at the end of the game to try and upgrade anything. I'm having a hard time even seeing the live ones from the dead ones. Remember, these are supposed to be like overwhelming you. These are the replacement baby characters. Certainly emotionally starving, cannibalistic military people. I guess they are probably one of the military groups that refused to kill themselves or transformed before then. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually did turn into crazy cannibals fairly earlier than the order to kill everybody was even issued. I just have plenty of stuff now. These unitologists are just not posing a real threat. That's the problem. It's interesting how this sometimes the camera turns with you. I don't know if I'm doing that or if the game is doing that. Yeah, we are just back at inventory. And so once again I need to find a bench, even though we went past 3 benches before. these unlocked things are wholly unnecessary. They're not something that you could really rush and try and fight the characters on. Like, so you'd have to clear the room. I imagine even on like the most difficult of settings, if the enemies were more of bullet sponges, even then you really couldn't rush past them. I feel like these door patterns are just either very poorly designed levels, or we're gonna turn on the power and then all of a sudden have different paths or alternating paths. And is this a different shaft or a lower shaft? Version of the same shaft. It looks to me like this is supposed to be the lower version of the same shaft. That would be what I would take from this. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do activate something that shoots cargo or something out through that whole area, and we have to go in circles. Scavenger waiting at the bench. Yeah, and the scavenger's times, their delay time, only really makes sense if there was benches 5 minutes apart from each other, and it just isn't. There really isn't a way. Yeah, that guy was just too close. I don't know if I'm gonna survive this. I guess we'll try the shotgun, but we don't have the shotgun. We equipped the other gun. Okay. I lost that bullet, but whatever. Okay. So you activate this, then we start just kind of getting in the corner. You good? We might as well smash all these and get as much items as possible. Even though we've got like a couple of health kits, it looks like sitting. Was that a suicide bomber or what? I didn't even see what that was. This might be the shaft, actually, that we went down before. And that may very well have been the box I knocked down. Yeah, I don't know if this guy was fell from a high height or what. I don't know why his body's there. Clip. Upgrade circuit. Inventory is full. +2 damage. No problems. And then we have another door. Let's listen to this.
I want all of them. Every last bullet, Private.
I'm sorry, General Mahat, sir, but without the munitions key...
What's your name, son?
Kaufman, sir? Private Tim Kaufman, sir.
Do you like potatoes, Tim?
Yes, sir. I guess so, sir.
Good. Because if you don't find the goddamn key and have those munitions on a train by sundown, you'll be peeling goddamn potatoes for the rest of your goddamn miserable excuse for a military career.
So we're looking for the munitions key. Which, yeah. Definitely feels like they got wrecked here. Somebody spoiled all the food because of the Necromorphs. Somebody's lost all the bullets because of the Necromorphs. Seems like the Necromorphs might be smarter than they seem.
The key's here somewhere. What's so important at the train depot? Munitions. What happens if Clarke finds them first? Nobody gets reborn, so keep looking.
Okay, so we heard voices there. Let's just see if we can start an encounter first. This is interesting. He pulls up. He pulls up one bullet. When you have, so I have like 9 bullets right now. If I manage to pick up any ammo, it will pick up that ammo and put it in your inventory. But oddly, it doesn't pick it up and put it in the gun itself. So it's not like it's a instant refill. That was some tungsten. I thought that would have been a upgrade circuit in there. We've been getting quite a lot of those. Can I jump down? No, it stops you from doing that. So their very reborn concept is threatened apparently by Isaac, and I guess somewhat fairly threatened by Isaac because, let's be honest here, if he does manage to stop the markers and all of that nonsense, then whatever they think is going to happen with the markers isn't going to happen. Desperately need a bench. Yeah, we could be leaving a decent amount of resources all over the place. Alright, here we have the armory key.
Here's some good news. I found a munition supply key.
Great. Don't get killed before you can use it.
Thanks, Carver.
Standing too close to the vents, clearly not a smart move.
Boy, you don't know what's going on. No, sir. Forget it. Just get it loaded onto the train. You'll find out soon enough.
So he's taking all the bullets to kill everybody, and arguably maybe the reveal here is that the general gave the order to kill everybody prematurely. It was unnecessary. That the marker had kind of driven him crazy. Like that is a possibility, I suppose. But it doesn't really change the story any. Because who cares? This is all in the past stuff. Am I going the right direction? Yeah, I am. Apparently I'm going downward. I didn't realize I had gone up. This is a very vertical level, to say the least. It seems like it just is sending upward and downward, and I don't know why it would be doing that other than to perhaps fulfill some low RAM issues. Like I wouldn't be surprised if this was their most ambitious move, in which they wanted you to wanted to have the biggest possible level. I imagine there's more of these guys. Of course, with the stasis coating, everything is just slowed down, so it's not really a threat. Whereas if I didn't have the stasis coating, in all fairness, I would be struggling with this quite a bit. Which, yeah, that was kind of fairly obvious that would be the way the guns would go, and I feel like that's probably what happens a lot with the other gun concepts. Like if the gun had when the gun had the lightning ability, it really wasn't doing that much damage. Plus these characters, Necromorphs getting electrified, wasn't slowing them down as much as stasis does. Poison and fire, same thing. Pause now if you want to read the first half of this. Pause now if you want to read the second half of this. Alright, so we are going this way. And I would expect to kind of be stopped here and not be able to just hack this door. in total peace. Okay. I swear there's a bench somewhere around here. Well, they all seem to be pointing in the same direction, so that doesn't seem too bad. Let's step on this one, step on this one, and step on this one. It's really weird that all these sequences where we trigger attacks when we open a door only happen in optional missions. We are just going in circles. And I'm not sure if I've been to some of these areas before or what. Is there really no bench anywhere here? Suit kiosk and bench are both this way, but there's a power malfunction. I mean, it doesn't really matter if they throw 4 or 5 benches in front of you at the beginning of a section. That's not really going to encourage most players to empty out their inventory for a potential future where you are then going to refill your inventory. And at this late in the game, it's weird, but I kind of feel like I should have played the game on hard. There was a few places where we struggled and died a couple times, particularly the boss fight, but I'd say we're hitting 94% of the time just super easy gameplay. And that's just because I have managed to min-max my weapons somewhat well. So the question, now that we have a +2 damage upgrade, is do we want to potentially get rid of one that's like +2 damage and minus... Interesting.
He's raised the munitions! Hold them on!
Go ahead and heal. Yeah, slightly faster rate of fire or slightly faster reload is, I guess, the question we'll ask ourselves. All kinds of bullets. Yeah, there's no reason not to straight up scrap metal everything as soon as we can find a bench. But the problem here is finding the bench. So I wonder if this transition area in this device would have been helpful somewhere else. Okay. Acid bath, can't pick up. Weapons we can't pick up. Weapons we can't pick up. Alright, well, we'll use this, we'll use this, we'll use this. We'll see if that gets us far enough. Nope. But go ahead and drop this. And drop that. And there's just gonna be ammo everywhere in this level. Alright. I want to see what this does. Could we use this? Oh, so there's just a whole transition here with a locked archaeology, and this may very well be the only way to get to archaeology is a co-op. Then we have several other locked places, so I could transition to supply depot, but that's it, and that's not very useful. I mean, it'll save you some time, certainly, but it's not going to... It's not going to get me to a bench. I assume where this ends up doing is this ends up taking us back to where we were at the very beginning of the game. Yep. And that's locked, so we can't even do anything there. So you have just no choice. And this is just awful because what this is creating is a scenario where the closest bench we had was in this inventory, this area. Thank goodness this is here. Stasis support, plasma core, acid bath, stasis amplifier, +2 damage, +2 reload. Massive amount of tungsten. Still have yet to see any use for the ration seals at all. Compact conic dispersal, telemetry spike, stasis support. So we can make a contact beam. A classic charge plasma converter with a ground diffractor. Doesn't look too bad, but it looks fairly slow. Yeah, we have enough tungsten at this point to pretty much do everything. Alright, so 1 rate of fire and 1 damage. +2 damage minus 1 rate of fire. Well, we can immediately equip that. And notice how that is just gold. So I wouldn't be surprised if that is like the max that you can do. 1 rate of fire plus 1 damage plus 1 damage plus 1 clip. Otherwise, +1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. I could probably sell some of these for tungsten. So what would we never use? We wouldn't want rate of fire and that reduce damage. I think that much we can say. +2 reload. Like at some point we may just get crazy and unlock these other slots too. Clip, we can sell that one. I could see the idea of wanting more clips. But yeah, I don't think I'd want to do anything here. We'll get rid of anything that reduces damage because that doesn't make any sense at all. And we'll hold on to the rest of these. Although a lot of these probably could just be sold for more tungsten. I'm not even sure if we need tungsten at that point. Safe wise. Sell that. I'm going to sell 2 of these. I'm going to choose to get rid of a couple of these. And yeah, I think that's probably as much as I'd want to do. We have the tungsten torque bar, so we're safe there. We have plenty of scrap if we were going to need to make some ammo, but if you did run out of ammo at a certain point, you would also have to come to a bench to be able to craft ammo, so that's fairly useless. Let's see. So we have 1 stasis support, and we'll sell that. And we'll sell that. Stasis shots have a larger radius. I don't think we would ever use that versus stasis coating. So we'll sell that. We'll hold on to acid bath. Doesn't look like there's anything new there. Let's see. I think we can sell that one. We don't have anything new to craft there. I don't think there's anything there new. I wish there was something better than just the elite frame. In a funny way, I feel like the compact elite frame might be slightly cheaper to build with than starting with a compact standard frame and then upgrading it. But yeah, I'm not sure I really believe that. And this Hammond's heavy frame is still weird. I suppose we should look and see how much it would actually cost us. It's a high amount of tungsten, certainly. For one-handed guns, 4 upper circuits, 4 lower circuits. But we gotta figure this out, don't we? We don't need 2 telemetry spikes. We also could now make a pneumatic torch and a ripcord. But there don't seem like there really are any upgrades. If anything, this probably highlights how many different kinds of weapons there actually are in the game. And then there's just variations on those. Seems to me that it's basically 8. Alright. I think we have to experiment here. This could be a huge mistake, but I'm gonna build a compact elite frame. Craft and equip. Oopsie. Yeah, that's 4. All upgraded. It pretty much took everything off. Let's see. Yeah. So, yeah, that was a mistake. Certainly. So then the question would be, if I was to sell this, you get about half the tungsten you spent on that back. So I should probably just build a new gun with it. Yep. I was thinking maybe it would start with 4 and then you could upgrade it to 6 for each tool. But clearly that's not the case. Well, it does feel like we've done something with this game now, having gone an hour and 22 minutes. Let's see. Now, maybe we will be able to put some more of these surveyor bots, or maybe we won't. Let's see. We're back to our main mission, and we're still in chapter 11. Scavenger bots waiting to be deployed. 37.1% done now with the game. And some of that certainly is just you can't do this co-op mission. So there's at least 2, probably maybe even 3 or 4 co-op missions you can't play in single player. And you'd have a real hard time in 2021 finding somebody willing to play co-op with you in Dead Space 3. Actually, I think you would have had a hard time even day 1 getting somebody to play co-op with you on Dead Space 3. There's seemingly still a lot of logs to collect and a lot of weapons parts, so the whole armory side quest seems to be just a bonus. We've sort of broken the game, it feels like. We're overpowered, and the best the game can do is try to overrun us with 8 or 9 zombies in a very small enclosed space, but if I can shoot them fast enough, which that's just rate of fire and reload, I can kill all the zombies fine. And I imagine we will start to see some +2 plus something else platinum tier upgrades. I wouldn't be surprised if this just keeps going up and up and up. Otherwise, it's very questionable what you would even be doing in New Game Plus. We desperately need a upgraded suit that would allow us to hold more inventory items. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.